Good day. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Peace, peace, and greetings, salutations. This is your Kim folks, OMAR, HOSEA, saying what's up. The servant, shalom. I finally seen the Black Panther movie today. And I have to agree with a lot of people. It was this, the way it was written was a good writing, good, well-written movie. I have to say kudos to the writers. I have to say kudos to the producer. For it to be a soul brother movie, more or less, getting the message out. Um, it was an outstanding job. Well, I have to say it was a good movie that had meaning to it all the way through it. But this is what I didn't hear anybody mention about. First of all, I want y'all to check out my Facebook page, Hosea Bay, where part 2 of Black Love is pseudo. Part 2. Check that out on Facebook, Hosea Bay. Black Love is pseudo. Remember who told you that? So here's my take on Black Panther after I watched the movie. I didn't pay too much attention to the clothing, because our Asiatic clothing is universal. Our dance is universal. Our dance is the same no matter on the planet that you go. Our clothing is the same no matter where you go on the planet. Now, if you're in South Africa, now you get further south you go in Africa, the less clothes you wear, because it's too damn hot. And so you're going to wear bamboo sticks and hay around yourself because it's too hot. Be putting on linen and all that. And so I heard other people say, this is about Africa. This is about Africa. Black Panther was not about Africa. Black Panther, this is about the redemption of the black people. It wasn't even about that. The Black Panther movie was about our liberation and us getting who we used to be. Wasn't even about that. It was about slavery, slave-minded versus culture. And what do the so-called black man do if you take his culture away versus if he grew up in culture? Let's get to this thing called Wakanda, right? A lot of y'all took that word Wakanda and misplaced it and gave it to Africa. I told y'all that was some other movies and other videos. Wakanda is a real place. Now you listen to what the CIA agent said when they were trying to find that metal, vibra, some stuff. He said he made a slip up. He said Wakanda was really in South America. That's why you see people with Indian type, Native Indigenous, Native American type, Middle Eastern, Egyptian, Gypsy type, Muslim type of clothing. And in Africa, they're not the only ones that wear dashikis. Dashikis is just a common clothing for all men. or Asiatic. Deep down in South Africa, they didn't wear dashikis. They wore animal skins. Check that history out. So, with some things I had noticed. One, that you so-called black people them took that movie too far. And they played on your ignorance because they knew you was going, they thought you thought this was about Africa. Had nothing to do with Africa. Because if you look at each scene, it told you where they was at. Now, at the beginning of the movie, the scene came up, they're on the way to Nigeria. Why they go to Nigeria? To go pick up the woman. Now, after he go pick up the woman, you notice they're on the way to Wakanda. Now, when they're driving over from Nigeria, they go to a grassland. They don't go over the desert. They go over a hill type situation, a mountainous region with a lot of plush green, like here in Pennsylvania. There were some scenes that they went, when they went to go to Wakanda, let you know they wasn't in Africa. Now, if you remember the builders of the mound, now if you know anything about the true place called Wakanda, it's a spiritual place. Truth. In the indigenous culture here in the United States, we call Northwestern Maxim, there is an indigenous culture that Wakanda is considered one of the great spirits of the Most High. And so, if you're not spiritual connected, you can never get into Wakanda. And so, they made it so instead of you spiritually getting into Wakanda, as an indigenous, they said you will make it Africa. But the movie never told you that it was in Africa. They insinuated that it was Africa because they said South America first, but all the vibranium metal or whatever, they found some more in Africa. And so they're saying that they're going to go mine that subconsciously because it was already here in South America. That's how I know it was an indigenous thing about the movie. Now, you notice Black Panther, his dad now are in the United States. They've all placed her in New York or maybe Chicago. So that lets you know right there that the Black Panther, his dad, Killmonger, and Wakanda had everything to do with you and me. It had nothing to do with Africa. But he made his connection with an African sister who was from Africa, who was a warrior. And so when you go into the Wakanda, it's a cultural binding. If you notice, there's all these different tribes, and they all had their own particular dress, and they was welcoming to that spirit of peace, harmony, brotherhood, sisterhood, and all that. Had nothing to do with war. Had nothing to do with that. Now even the pale skins knew about it. That's why the CIA guy was like, man, you mean to tell me they got all this? Why would I listen to you? He didn't believe until he had to die. Until he found a new place in his heart. But yes, stay tuned for part 2 of that movie, yo. I'll pick this though. Now you notice Killmonger, he comes with the slave mind. His intentions is wonderful. But like he said throughout the whole movie, I learned from my slave masters. I learned from my enemies. So here Black Panther and everybody else is telling him, like, look, man, we hear about culture. We understand what slave masters do. We understand what slavery creates and stuff like that. But here in Wakanda, we're spiritual, we're cultural people, we're a peaceful people, unless we're forced into a war. So just like you, so-called black man and black woman, you've taken up the principles and the obligations of your slave master, and so you could never get into Wakanda spiritually and physically and be a part of the scene without you using your pale skin or your slave master influences. And so that's why the black man, the black woman die. And that's why I always say black love is pseudo. Watch that movie again on a different site. Take your African eyes off of it and check it out. Another part was, you know, the so-called black man, if he don't get his way, ain't nobody getting it. And so that's what Killmonger did. He burnt up all the healing plants and all that, put the lady up in the chokehold. You know what I mean? He took all his war tactic teachings from the pale skin, from slavery, and brought it to a peaceful situation, to Atlanta culture. And so the Black Panther movie, there was to let you know, so-called black man or black woman, that you cannot come to the new world with that same nigger mind, with that Killmonger mind, with that I don't give a damn, man. Somebody owes me, or because this happened, that this has to happen, or there's no mercy. Don't do that. So I'm almost certain that the argument between Killmonger and Black Panther, and the whole purpose of the movie, was to teach you so-called black folks the destruction of having your slave mind coming into a new place, a new spiritual place, a new Mecca, a new place where we as people can get along. But on the flip side, where culture forgets about the pains of slavery. And that's why at the end of the movie, he bought up as much as he could, put the spiritual people in charge to help break the slave mentality of the people. So when they come through his building and through his establishment, they're being groomed mentally, emotionally, psychologically, and spiritually to become a Wakandian, to be a part of Wakanda, to become a indigenous man or woman again. And so that movie was wonderful, well written. It was especially well hidden. And matter of fact, what I noticed, that they used some ancient Hebrew letters. So that's how I knew it was about culture versus slavery, and that this is the battle that we're going through. You got two Black Panthers, one a slave mind and one a culture. And when they got together and clashed, you know, like dude said, you know, where I'm from, this is how we do it. And so if you keep taking that, this is where I'm from, this is how we do it, to a different place, you ain't gonna last that long. You may become king for a day, but eventually you'll be dethroned by those who have a set order and culture, and that is set order of slavery. So until next time, this is Kevin Fogle, more saying peace. I want to give you a little tidbit. Culture versus slavery, the Black Panther obvious. A lot of y'all folks read into that movie altogether different, altogether messed up. That was more of a culture movie, a culture slavery thing. That was an information movie, without letting y'all know, without spilling the beans, that if y'all don't straighten up, you're going to die. And you see all the people that died going, following the slave nigga ideas, opposed to the king who had part of the culture idea.